I just can't stop myself from buying books. I can't say that I'm really ashamed of myself, though. Really.
Hello booktubers, Bumblesby here, and I am introducing kind of a new concept. I think I said a little bit about it on my short video, but it's called The Long and the Short of It. So what I want to do is, when I do book hauls, I'm going to have two videos. One that has a short version, and basically just shows the book and maybe a couple little comments real quick. And then I want to have a longer version where I talk more about what the books may be about, including reading a synopsis if there is one. And this one is the long version for the book haul. Well, I'm going to date it today, which I believe is the 26th of March. So the short video I did an unboxing of that one, and that was like, I did it like 3 days ago and recorded it, but I'm actually going to probably post it tonight with this longer version. So let's get started. Remember, this is the long version, so if you just want to see the short version, show me the books, and let's get out of here, then turn this one off and turn on the episode short. Okay, so I have, let's see, I have all of these to show you. Oh, and that one. So these are the ones we're going to be going through. Some of these I have seen on hauls from other YouTubers recently. And I've been watching so many lately that I just really can't remember whose I saw them on. So I'm really sorry. Because I'd like to mention you, but so many people have had hauls, and I have like started subscribing to a bunch of people, so you know how that goes. I'm getting old and I just don't remember everything. First one up, A Separate Piece by John Knowles. And as you know, I like hardcovers the most, and it really kind of made me angry, not angry, but disappointed that the hardcover book for this book did not have this nice of a cover. It was a very ugly cover, and so I decided to go ahead and get the paperback because I liked the cover better. I'll read the back of this for you. Set at a boys' boarding school in New England during the early years of World War II. A Separate Piece is a harrowing and luminous parable of the dark side of adolescence. Jean is a lonely, introverted intellectual. Phineas is a handsome, taunting, daredevil athlete. What happens between the two friends one summer, like the war itself, banishes the innocence of these boys and their world. A bestseller for more than 30 years, A Separate Piece is John Knowles' crowning achievement and an undisputed American classic. Now, this one looks like it was made into a movie. There's a Showtime emblem down there. I'm not sure when exactly, if it's already been made. It's possible. The book was actually copyrighted in 1959. So that's when the book was actually first published. But I do not know, this particular edition is 2003, so it's very possible that this movie's already been out. So it'll be interesting if I read this and I enjoy it, you might be able to find the DVD of that movie. A Separate Piece by John Knowles. It's kind of almost it is sort of a YA book, but back from 1959. Dealing with two adolescents in a boarding school. The next one is a YA book, Prism by Eliza Kellerman. And I wanted to mention something about these authors. They are really a family of authors. I didn't realize that. I was reading this before I did the video. And Faye Kellerman, I believe, is probably the mother there. She says is the author of 25 novels, including 19 New York Times best-selling mysteries that feature her husband and wife team of Peter Decker and Rena Lazarus. This is her first novel for teens and her first time writing with Eliza. her daughter. You can visit Faye online with www.fayekellerman.net. If I like this, I might check out Faye Kellerman's Mysteries. Who knows? Elisa, which is the daughter, there. I'm sorry, both of the authors are on the front. There's Elisa and Faye at the top. Forgive me. Elisa has been writing for years, inspired by her family, which also includes her brother, novelist Jesse Kellerman, and her father, New York Times bestselling author Jonathan Kellerman. A junior in high school, Elisa enjoys drawing, cartooning, singing, and playing her new Kelly Green electronic harp. Prism is her first book. So, wow, a whole family of writers. So here is the synopsis of the book. Kata Hutchinson isn't exactly psyched for the class trip to Carlsbad Caverns. 14 hours in a van with preppy jock Zeke Anderson and high school loner Joy Talon? No, thank you. But when a tragic and explosive accident turns the journey into a nightmare, Kata would give anything to be back on the road. Stumbling at midnight against the unforgiving desert, Kata, Zeke, and Joy take refuge in an abandoned cave until the world goes from pitch black to blinding. The next thing Kata knows, she's back home in California and everything is just as it was before the Carlsbad trip ever took place. Or is it? Increasingly unnerved by the distorted world around her, Kata starts receiving unexpected help from mysterious people. Soon she must band together with Zeke and Joy to try to make it back to the reality she remembers and to survive the one she's fallen into. So, it is, set with teenagers, but it's not really like a high school type thing. So, it might be more so, on this alternate history. I'm not sure. I'm sure they spend some time in high school in that story, but let's see. The next one I want to go over is, I saw this one, I wish I could remember who it was, very, very recently. I'm not even going to give a name who I think it might be because I just don't remember. But what caught me about this was the cover and the cartoons that describe the different characters in the book. They're also in the back. And they're also, this is one of those paperbacks that have the flap. It's also on the flap on the inside, on the front and the back. Pretty neat. What caught my eye right away was the illustrations look very similar to another book that I have. And sure enough, it was the same exact illustrator. And I think it says on here, by R. Chast. And this is a book that I read recently, The Possessed, and you can see they are very similar in style. And I thought, man, that must be and then when I looked it up on Amazon, it was. I think her name is Roz Chast. Yeah, they're very, very comical. So this is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. And apparently she was a famous author. This one was written, I believe, published in 1932. And originally, this one's 2006. But she was born in London in 1902 and went to the North London Collegiate School and studied journalism at the University of College London. It had mentioned here there's several books that she has written. And when I was reading the introduction to this book, it talked about how it's hard to find her books in print. So I think this book is kind of a literary classic now. And actually, this is a Penguin. It's called Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. And I really don't know exactly what it's about. I think it's kind of a strange book. So I'll be very, very interested to see what this is about. But it kind of drew me because of the cover. So there's that. Let's see. We'll go through this one. This is Michael Greenberg, Beg, Borrow, and Steal. And This is the book that I'm reading for the Something Blue, about something new, something old, something new, borrowed and blue. And this is going to be my borrowed book. I didn't actually borrow a book, but I found one that had the word borrow in it. And actually it looks very good. It is sort of a collection of essays by Michael Greenberg, A Writer's Life. And I'll read this to you. In Beg, Borrow, Steal, Michael Greenberg regales us with his vivid take on the life of a writer of little means, trying to practice his craft or simply stay alive. He finds himself doctoring doomed movie scripts, selling cosmetics from an ironing board in front of a women's department store, writing about golf, a game he has never played, and botching his debut as a waiter in a posh restaurant. Central characters include Michael's father, whose prediction that Michael's scribbling wouldn't get him on the subway almost came true. His artistic first wife, whom he met in a Greenwich Village high school, and their son, who grew up on the Lower East Side, fluent in the language of the street and in the language of the parlor. Then there are Greenberg's unexpected encounters, a Holocaust survivor who on his deathbed tries to leave Michael his fortune, a repentant communist who confesses his sins, a man who becomes a woman, a Chilean filmmaker in search of his past, and rats who behave like humans and cease to live underground. Hilarious and bittersweet, Greenberg's story invites us into a world where the familial, which is familial, the literary and the tragic and the mundane not only speak to one another, but deeply enjoy the exchange. And he writes, he's the author of the memoir Hurry Down Sunshine, which has been published in 16 countries. It looks like he writes for the San Francisco Chronicle, Amazon.com, and Library Journal. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was a best book. He is a columnist for the Times Literary Supplement. I can't talk tonight. The Times Literary Supplement. His writing has appeared in such varied places as the Oprah magazine, and the New York Review of Books, which I do subscribe to. So that's Big Borrow and Steal for my challenge. One more YA book. This is Once a Witch. Boy, look at that. Really shiny cover, huh? And I saw someone very, very, like today, I think, just also purchased this book. I think that one. Theirs was in a paperback, though. Of course, this is hardcover. If I like it, and I always try to get the hardcover. This one sounds really, really good. Okay, it says at the top, your daughter will be one of the most powerful we have ever seen in this family. That's my phone. She will be a beacon for us all. Tasman Green comes from a long line of witches, and on the day she was born, her grandmother proclaimed she would be one of the most talented among them. But Tasman's magic never showed up. Now, 17 years later, she spends most of her time at boarding school in Manhattan, where she can at least pretend to be normal. But during the summers, she's forced to return home and work at her family's bookstore/magic shop. One night, a handsome young professor, of course, from New York University arrives in the shop and mistakes Tasman for her extremely talented older sister. For once, it's Tasman who's been looked at with awe and admiration, and before she can stop herself, she agrees to find a family heirloom for him that was lost more than a century ago. But the search and the stranger prove to be more sinister than they first appeared, ultimately sending Tasman on a treasure hunt through time that will unlock the secret of her true identity, unearth the past sins of her family, and unleash a power so strong and so vengeful that it could destroy them all. In a spellbinding display of storytelling, Carolyn McCullough interweaves witchcraft, romance, and time travel in a fantasy that will exhilarate, enthrall, and thoroughly enchant. Once a Witch, Carolyn McCullough. And the last book I have is a fantasy. Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. It's going to take me a while to read through this, but I want to because it sounds really, really good. And I realize I'm 14 minutes in, but I can go over 15 minutes now. I got some kind of special privilege. Aren't you guys really lucky? Hey, I said it was the long one. So, Elantris, gigantic, beautiful, literally radiant, filled with benevolent beings who use their powerful magical abilities to benefit all the people of Arelon. Arelon, I'll say A-R-E-L-O-N. Yet each of these godlike beings had been an ordinary person until touched by the mysterious transforming power of, I'm going to call it the Shroud, S-H-A-O-D. Welcome to the world of fantasy, you get weird names. I'll say the Shroud. Then, 10 years ago, without warning, the magic failed. Elantrians became wizened, feeble, leper-like creatures, and Elantris itself, dark, filthy, and crumbling. The Shroud became a curse. Arelon's new capital city, K, Arelon, I believe, sounds like the country or the planet, must be the country, crouches in the shadow of Elantris, which its people do their best to ignore. Princess Serene of Teod has come to K for a marriage of state with Crown Prince Raoden, hoping, based on their correspondence, also to find love. She finds instead that Raoden has died, and she is considered his widow. Both Teod and Arelon are under threat as the last remaining holdouts against the imperial ambitions of a ruthless, religious fanatics of Fordel. Serene decides to make the best of a sad situation and use her position to oppose the machinations of Hrathen, a Fordel high priest who has come to convert Arelon and claim it for his emperor and his god. But neither Serene nor Hrathen suspects the truth about Prince Raoden's disappearance. Taken by the same strange malady that struck the fallen gods of Elantris, Raoden was secretly imprisoned within the Dark City. His struggle to create a society for the wretches trapped there begins a series of events that will bring hope to Arelon, and perhaps even reveal the secret of Elantris itself. Elantris is fleet and fun, full of surprises and characters to care about, a welcome breath of fresh air. It is a rare epic fantasy that doesn't recycle the classics and is a complete and thoroughly satisfying story in a single volume. It's also the wonderful debut of a welcome new star in the constellation of fantasy. So, Brandon Sanderson. I wanted to read the back also, if I can do this quickly. Elantris was beautiful once. It was called the City of the Gods, a place of power, radiance, and magic. Visitors say that the very stones glowed with an inner light, and that the city contained wondrous arcane marvels. At night, Elantris shone like a great silvery fire, visible even from a great distance. Yet, as magnificent as Elantris has been, its inhabitants have been more so. Their hair a brilliant white, their skin an almost metallic silver. The Elantrians seemed to shine like the city itself. Legend claimed that they were immortal, or at least nearly so. Their bodies healed quickly, and they were blessed with great strength, insight, and speed. They could perform magics with the bare wave of the hand. Men visited Elantris from all across Opalon to receive Elantrian healings, food, or wisdom. They were divinities, and anyone could become one. The Shroud, as it was called, the transformation. It struck randomly, usually at night, during the mysterious hours when life slowed at rest. The Shroud could take beggar, craftsman, nobleman, or warrior. When it came, the fortunate person's life ended and began anew. It would discard his old mundane existence and move to Elantris. Elantris, where he could live in bliss, rule in wisdom, and be worshipped for eternity. Eternity ended 10 years ago. Love it. So, here's the inside of the book. No, I don't know if it's paper or cloth covered, but anyway, that's that. Well, I hope you enjoyed my long version of this. And I have more hauls coming. I have a lot of books that I have ready to be hauled. And so I might take a couple more weeks to do those. So talk to you later. Bye.